All right, guys. So look, welcome to the Masters Monday podcast. This is episode 1 of season 2. You're launching our season 2, Miss Doris. We'll introduce you in a moment. We are the Masters Fitness team. I am Chan Ganaway.
And I'm Carrie Sullivan.
And for those of you who may not know us, we have a combined 50 plus years experience in everything from training and mentoring and managing and leading other fitness professionals to curriculum building and creative fitness programming. So we have a passion for success as the fitness industry as a whole, but we really have also a passion for the 40 plus Masters age group, which coincidentally all 3 of us on this podcast are a part of.
Yes, that's true. And today our discussion is going to be focused on 2 words, and that is fitness careers. And what better person to discuss all things related to fitness and a successful career than award-winning Senior Vice President of Fitness and Innovation with Boss of Fitness, Miss Doris Thews. She is in the house, and we're so excited to have her. So, welcome.
How are you?
Well, what an honor. Thank you so much for having me. You guys are so fun, and I love the fact that you're going after this masters category, because we're all mastering as we age and as we become more wise and have more discernment and have more responsibility, frankly, to the industry and to the world. I just think you guys are hitting an incredible niche, and it's an honor to kick off season 2.
I love it. I love it. And I really appreciate it. And I think, you and I have a bit of history, and that's how we got connected. But our history, I think, started about 10 years ago, if you believe it or not. It's crazy, right? And probably about close to 10. And I was launching my fitness studio, my private studio myself. And you came along with indoor row, and you're working with water rowers. And I think I was the kind of like 3rd or 4th person in Florida to have the Indo row, and then came this big boutique fitness studio called Orange Theory, and then they all got them, but then everyone knew about it. But I think we were the first, and I got to know you, and you were just such a pleasure. I just loved being able to talk to you, and then. As a master trainer with Bloxing, I got to see you on the circuit and see you often. And my favorite thing about you was being able to take any class I could from you, because as I guess I'm a fitness snob in the sense that I'm so used to having such excellent instructors when I get to go to these and get to know them on a personal level. And you are that girl. I just love taking your classes.
There was a rumor about your cycling classes.
Yes.
On how amazing they were. And she told me earlier before we even started this, how she would always look and seek out your cycling classes.
And no matter how many classes I took from other people, and those circuits, you book you're exhausted. But I was like, I dragged myself. It doesn't matter. I just got to get to Doris's spin. So that was it. So that's our history together. And I just am happy to bring this around full circle, Doris. So,
and thank you for acknowledging the Masters Age Group, because that's a podcast in itself. Is the experienced people out there still jamming, still succeeding. I mean, you give so many ideas. In the brief first phone call we ever had, you gave me a wonderful idea. Just instantly, you really do see opportunity, and it's quite amazing. And I think the 40 plus, we're going to circle back to you in a couple of weeks, and maybe that's a podcast in and of itself of what the masters out there can actually offer the industry.
Right. So basically, let's hear about you just in a little brief nutshell. Take us back to where this all began for you.
Okay, so 2 minutes or less.
Right.
We'll give you 5.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
Woo!
Okay, so I've been an athlete all my life, but in 1984, I was a junior in high school, and I was behind the front desk of a women's gym, and thank God the 6 a.m. instructor didn't show up. Woo! Pulled up my leg warmers, rocked my thong on the outside, Sheila E. Glamorous Life album, boom, the rest was history. And I knew immediately that movement was magic. And I knew it was just magic. And as an athlete, you just take for granted. But I would see people, not physically, but emotionally and spiritually, change before my eyes. So that's 84 when, things were just starting. Through college, I taught because it was a free membership, cute boys, why not, right? Then you graduate, and when I graduated in 89, there was no big industry at that point. So I had the Fortune 500. I taught in the mornings, I taught at night. Fast forward, I ended up being a consultant for 24 and helping bringing in their cycling program. Then I became a divisional director where I oversaw 67 clubs, 3,000 group fitness instructors. Fast forward, I decided, hey, you know what? Movement is magical. My goal is to hit the masses. So when I started teaching, it was teaching. And then I thought, oh my gosh, I could be a coordinator. Then I can help the coordinators reach the masses. Then as a divisional director, I can hit the masses. And then all of a sudden I said, I want to connect with the world. So that's when I stopped working at 24 and created my own company. And thank God I have a very close relationship with Jay Blahnik and some really talented people.
Wow. Yeah.
Right.
Along the way. So with that being said, I was able to jump ship and start my own company. And that is being an international trainer for Schwinn, Bosu, Waterer. And then also, working with some brands that I can't tell because you sign secret contracts, and Rika and Kind Bar. And I just, all of a sudden, when you do what you love, it comes together and I hit the masses. And then a couple of years ago, about 4 years ago, I was consulting a company because I felt like it was time for me to give back everything I learned. And they said, we want you to be a vice president. I was like, oh, no chance am I going back to corporate America. Silly girl. Yeah. So I became a vice president of a company called InShape. And then from there, I went on to move to Vasa Fitness, where I'm a senior vice president for group fitness, personal training, what we call our studio product, and all innovation. And so the funny thing is this industry was all, and my growth was all about having a singular focus of hit the masses, hit the masses, hit the masses, hit the masses. And everything I do is shaped by that. And every opportunity I say yes to, or that God provides me, has been delivered on how I can just hit more people.
Right. Well, I'm going to go back to the kind of the first, 5 years, because you really ramped up pretty quickly, I would say. Do you think about you personally, it was your attention to detail, your love of music, was your endless energy? Was it a combination of all things? Like, what in you did people repeatedly say to you was your inherent skill?
So, if you do the math, 1984 makes 37 years. What?
Get it, girl.
I would say I have a work ethic that most people can't touch. And people always say that, I was so blessed to win the 2019 World Idea Instructor of the Year. Right. And so people's number one comment was, you deserve it. You've worked so hard. You've worked so hard. You've worked so hard. And the reason why I work so hard is because when you love what you do, they say you don't work a day. You don't work.
Sure.
That is BS. You work your butt off.
Yes.
You work your butt off, and you don't look at the clock, because when you are an accountant, you look from 8 to 5. Sorry, accountants out there. Right. But when you're a fitness professional, it starts at 5:30 a.m. and you're training clients, and then you're learning, and you're counseling, and then you're hustling on the side because you want to be a presenter, and then you have this great idea. Dude, I worked my butt off, but I loved every second of it. And to this day, if I don't work a 12-hour day, it just doesn't feel right to me. Does it feel like a 12-hour day? No, but I'll tell you, my work ethic and my passion and my innovation, coming alongside of Jay and Josh and being their program director for Water Rower, teaching Ellen how to do a rowing in a closet in Philadelphia, and now freaking Orange Theory. So I would my work ethic, my passion for the fitness industry, and I just have an innovative mindset. I can always kind of see what's coming in the future, which is good and bad.
When you talk about
because that keeps piling on work on top of you, right?
When you're
it's a curve.
Jay Blahnik, you talk about he's basically like, I don't know, he's such an innovator with fitness, but also works with Apple. And right? Is that his thing, right?
He's a senior director of health technologies, and he's responsible really for the watch. And he's been my mentor for well over 20 plus years. Everything, I would say, a lot of my innovative processes and talent has been shaped by him.
That's interesting, because that was one of your questions, right? Like,
yeah, it was. And I definitely, that's towards the end of this, but I definitely want to talk about your bigger influencers. And look, when you were done, go ahead.
There's multiple people, but he's definitely a catalyst.
Well, when you were kind of done with Josh Crosby and that project, I took him. Hey, look, when you told Josh, kick rocks, Josh. Hi, Josh, we love you, by the way. But
hey, Mr. Crosby.
He came down. Well, I had him teach about 3,000 coaches at Orange Theory how to row. So it was wonderful that we both had our Josh Crosby moment. Yeah. That's pretty cool. So listen, let's transition into kind of the boutique fitness tsunami that has been going on now for about 8 to 10 years, depending on what you're measuring, okay? And how that has really shaped kind of the in-club experience, which I know you have a tremendous amount of experience in, really from ground level to the explosion and launch of. And what have we learned from boutique fitness, and how are the big clubs competing? And I know that's a big mouthful, but can you touch on those?
Yeah, well, what's great about boutiques is they created an experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think the clubs give workouts and they give classes, and they did for years. And then the boutique started with the experience, from how you walk into the door to what the retail is available. Would you like a mint? Would you like a pony holder? Can I get you your shoes? Can I walk you to your bike? Can I set your bike up? Can I light some candles and be the most charismatic, beautiful looking person under the sun with a $300,000 sound system? And then, oh, by the way, when you walk out, the room is so clean that you could eat off the floor, and then you hang out and everybody's super cool. I think boutiques created an experience. They created a scene. And two reasons that, but number two, I think what happened is the kids, my kids, my son's 26, grew up in clubs, grew up in childcare. Our kids don't want to work out in our clubs. Like, that's where mom and dad took them to childcare. It isn't cool. But the studios became very cool, the hip place to be. And then you have, was it Class Pass? And then you could buy different places and be seen and put it on Instagram. And so I think you have the people who are actually attending those classes. I think it's status, and I think it's experience. So what did that do to the clubs? We had to clean up. We had to create experience, not just offer classes. We had to specialize, and it really gave the clubs a run for their money. And I'm super grateful that when I was at In Shape, I created something called the Beats Ride, which is a rhythm ride concept with protocol. And then at Vasa, created Studio Red and Studio Cycle, which are studio boutique experiences at a fraction of the cost. But I had to really had to upskill our talent and really spell it out on what an experience looks like. It's not about a workout, it's about an experience. Right. And so I think the boutiques kicked everybody's butt to up their game. But I also think from a leadership standpoint, it really changed what talent looked like. So in the past, talent was someone who did their degrees or did their certifications. And now talent was, are you hot? Oh, you're hot and beautiful. Let me teach you how to teach. Yeah. Let's go. And so what you got were fitness
enthusiast almost, right?
Yeah. And it's not that it was a bad thing, but the game changed. Right. And so the people with the education, it's not that they didn't evolve, but they were a little more set in their ways. And then all of a sudden comes in these gorgeous human specimens.
We call it a fitness talent.
Talent. Yeah. I think it went from instructor to talent. And so I think it changed the game. And so what you'll see is that type of talent can't work in a club, and that club talent typically can't work in a studio. There's very few of those that can pull that off. And so, listen, I'm not making judgments. I'm just calling it as I see it, because that's how I roll. But I would say the game changed in terms of talent.
Now, what about the word credibility gets thrown around a lot in the last 3 to 5 years? And I know it's a little sensitive button for people, but for veterans, I think the set in your ways thing that you said kind of relates to me personally thinking. I go back to the credibility. And so we're having to morph and understand what that fine line is between talent, the way you present yourself, the way you look, the way you speak, the energy you bring to the experience versus how educated and wonderful you are at maybe human movement. The credible conversation does happen, doesn't it?
Yeah, then that puts the responsibility on the ownership or the leadership. And so for me, I know to bring up the talent. And by the way, because of all these studios, it's actually been harder to hire talent.
Right.
In the past, there wasn't as much credible sources. And so an instructor, or actually what's happened is now it's harder to do talent, because someone can say, I could teach at a club here for $25, or I could teach here and make $100.
So
and
pay.
Right. So it's hard to compete. So what happens is big boxes and big club chains really have someone like me, which I'm blessed to, I love my job as an innovator, to come in and not just to make this talent credible, to upskill, and education and content has to have the background. And so it's the responsibility of the leadership of the club to make it happen. So to answer your question, the credibility doesn't fall on the talent anymore. It falls on the leadership, the people that hire them, the people that give them the opportunity to face and serve members. So for me, it's very important that when we do a studio product, they understand not just what to do, how to wink, and what bells and whistles to check off, but and to really understand the why behind the movement, the science, the results.
So with the right leadership, you can have it all.
You can, but it takes an investment. It takes an investment in someone who's credible. It takes an investment for companies to invest in the training hours,
right,
content, the delivery, the hours to put it together. But let me just tell you, when it's done right, it pays dividends.
Right.
Yeah, it's true. Right. Well, that's really...
No, it was beautiful. I love it. And I've been itching to kind of have that conversation with you about, the club and the boutique. So thank you for that. We're going to transition to two questions that Carrie has.
Okay. So it's, you talk a lot about credibility and the, basically the management. So you do manage, group fitness, studios, and you've dealt with personal trainers. What do you think makes a great personal trainer?
In any environment, Doris.
In any, whether
really what?
Yeah. So what is that to you?
This is so easy for me to answer. It's all about connection. A good trainer never needs to look for clients because they're already booked. And they usually have clients. I, as someone who's, a senior vice president, I still personal train. I have one account, one client, one family that I can't get rid of. Like, I can't shake them. Like, I just can't. They're like, oh, it's okay if we only see you once every 8 weeks. Like, when I'm in town, if you can come train us. It's because a good trainer, not only do they know their stuff, and they're current and they're professional, but they just have that connection, and it becomes a relationship. And I really feel personal training, in my opinion, when it's done really well, a lot of it is psychology with movement. Because it's not just about working the body, it's about working the heart, it's about working the mind. The family that I train, I've trained for 15 years. And the reason why I do it is because I love them and they won't let me go. But importantly, even though like literally I train them every 8 weeks, but it's really the relationship that I have with them. And as a senior leader, I have to be able to look at my trainers and go, dude, I train too. I know what it's like to wake up on Monday morning and go, oh, what am I going to do? Right. But I think it's the connection and it's the relationship. And I think you see a lot of trainers, if you're losing clients a lot, it's because you're just not connecting with them. You're going through the motions, you're being professional and you're checking the boxes and you're probably doing all the right steps. But it's that deep human connection, because through personal training is a lot of my deepest relationships. Of course, you have to have those professional boundaries, but I'll a good trainer is always full because they're so connected with their clients. And that doesn't mean, that you're available to all the time. You have to have serious professional boundaries, but a good trainer just knows how to connect on an emotional level and support these people and feed their heart and their mind in addition to their body.
Yeah.
And I think it really has to be genuine. I know it's a cliche, but it has to be genuine. You can only fake that for so long in the industry. And after about a year or two, it's going to kick you out, I think. At least that's what I've observed.
Yes. Yeah. It's true. It's true. I love that. What about for group training or coaches in a boutique setting? What makes a good instructor?
In a boutique setting?
I guess it could travel across all levels. So a group fitness instructor or someone that you put in maybe Studio Red or your cycle studio, what would make them great?
Oh, well, here's what makes a great instructor. Obviously, connection's really important. I mean, the number one reason people take classes, honestly, is the instructor. Like, Carrie, if I knew you were teaching at 5:30 on a Tuesday, I would wake my butt up to take your class because I know I'm going to get a good workout. Yeah. The second reason why people take classes is class time. Does it work out for me because I can drop off my kids and then take this class? And then the third, believe it or not, is playlist. That's based on a study that I've done. I would say for group fitness instructors, what makes a really good instructor is someone who does more than just one modality. So if you have a group fitness instructor who can also personal train, who can also slip into the studio, the more a group fitness instructor can do more modalities, they'll have more of a tribe, they'll have more success. And then if you think about a group fitness instructor teaches this class and says, hey, I'm teaching Studio Red tomorrow, then they go there. And then, hey, I'm teaching Studio Cycle, then they go there. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm a personal trainer, and then they train with you. We know the statistics say the more a member can touch elements of the club, they will stay longer, therefore their lives change, right? And bottom line is good. But the end of the day is they need that catalyst, and that catalyst usually is that group fitness instructor that says, hey, follow me here. Hey, follow me here. So what makes someone great? That they do more than just one thing. And I'm not saying you to be the jack of all trades, because that's a mistake. I just think you master one and then you go to another. I started with, believe it or not, I started my very first presenting in yay. And then from there, went into cycling, and then I worked for Shalene, a Turbo Kick, and then I did Bosu, and then I did rowing. And like, you learn your craft as you go, and as you grow, you pull people with you. Right? I would say group fitness instructors, get outside of that room, see what else is there, so you can serve your members better, and frankly, you'll be fed.
Well, and, you know, what I see when there is a hybrid like that, a group fitness instructor with a personal trainer, the group fitness instructor learns a lot from those individual cueing, and then the personal trainer who decides, hey, I can teach a BOSU class, they learn how to be very efficient and quick with their verbal cues. So if you can do both, at the end of the day, you learn from both pods, and that, you know, and you have an amazing employee with a career that could be full time.
Yeah. No, one of my goals when I was senior vice president is to, you know, people need benefits. Let's just call it. People need benefits, and really it's in their hands. It's in your hands if you learn this other skill. And the way I taught Studio Cycle, the way I created Studio Cycle was designed that a trainer could come in and press a button and just coach their buns off. Because really, being on a bike, it's public speaking on a bike. It's coaching. The bike's not going anywhere. You're in the dark. It's not going anywhere. So it really comes down to getting in their head and disassociation and great coaching and a great playlist. If I can give them the skills and they press and they connect, and then, oh, by the way, I'm a trainer, follow me here. My hashtag is Move the Masses. It's been that way since 1984. Yeah. So everything I design is to make sure that I can equip these folks. So when these folks, trainers or group fitness, do other things, they have influence to pull people in, which are going to change their lives. And quite frankly, it's going to give them the ability to be in fitness full time.
Absolutely.
And the win, and we'll move on, the win is the club. The club wins.
100%.
I mean, if you're running, if you take away the emotional piece and you go, okay, I'm running a business, that's the way to run it, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's one thing that when I've come to Boston that I've really worked towards, and I'm very proud to say that we're doing that. I'm seeing a lot of group fitness instructors coming into general manager positions. I'm seeing people like picking up extra hours here or extra hours there because they're like, hey, I want benefits. I'm like, we want to give you benefits.
Oh, that's perfect.
Our members are happy. Let's go.
Well, I think it makes from the standpoint of if you're a trainer and you're now all of a sudden interested in doing group classes, that is only going to help you become a better personal trainer, right? Like, trying to fit in just one box. I only want to work with one person at a time, maybe two. But what happens when you take a trainer and put them in a group fitness, and now they're having to like really think about, how can I cue, just like you're saying, how can I cue everybody to do the same thing? How can I spot this and this from the back of the room, from being on this point, and then the being able to say, I've sold memberships. I'm not opposed to cleaning a locker room. I'm not they are so in the fabric of your fitness studio.
I used to love those employees. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. The last thing I want to say is, and this is unfortunately with the industry, you'll see group fitness is over here and PT is over here. When they start merging, guess what happens? They start to respect each other.
Yeah.
Start to appreciate each other. So something that's not tangible is, I can say that the more you do that, what I've seen with the companies I've worked with, when I've been able to implement that, I just find that the respect and the admiration comes together.
Two teams equals one team.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. Let me touch on this real quick, because you just also said that the more the members touch all areas of the studio, of the gym, the longer they stay.
Right.
It got me thinking that the more a trainer and a group fitness and all staff basically become more ingrained and intertwined in the studio themselves, because I've seen this, you get one instructor who's like 5:30 p.m., they're packed. They're always packed because they're on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. They're on the top right, but they have the great playlist. They're great instructors. They don't get treated well by a management. I'm just going to take my clients and leave. My people, they're my people, right? But the more you can make people feel like, I don't want to leave here. I'm treated well. I love my fitness family.
Gotta be paid well.
Yeah, and get paid well.
But no, I've been in clubs in Northern California, in Dallas, and in Florida, and some did it well, and some didn't do it well. And I can tell you, the ones that did it well had long retention of employees, many, many years of employment, same employee, which are invaluable, and there wasn't just that constant churn.
Right.
Okay, maybe a tough question we're moving into here, but what crucial piece of information or education, or maybe someone who mentored you, dramatically changed your career for the better in the first, say, 5 years? Was it a piece of information or a person, or what was it?
I can't say what's happened in 5 years. I think because it was a slow burn, there wasn't that.
Okay.
I would say, really, I think the secret to my success is who I surround myself with and the brands I choose.
Fair enough.
I think I've surrounded myself with some incredible people: Chalene Johnson, Jay Blahnik, Jules Arney, Amy Dixon, Jeffrey Scott. I've always told my son, like, your friends are a reflection of you. So the people
friends are awesome.
But I've been super, I'm pleasant and lovely to everybody, of course, but I'm really selective on who I bring into my world, in my heart and in my brain. And I've been just really blessed to work with some really great people. And also I'm super particular about my brands. I've had a lot of opportunities I've said no to, and saying no is is hard for people, but it's probably the most powerful word you can use in fitness, because I think sometimes people will compromise so they can get faster up the food chain, and it's not good. It's not. So I've been really selective about my brand, who I hang out with, and what brands I represent. And I also think too, I try to work with a lot of integrity, and integrity for my husband and I specifically is at any time, if he saw me in a setting, would he be proud of me? What am I wearing? How am I acting? What am I drinking? Who am I surrounding myself with? I try to think about that with fitness. If I'm on this BOSI ball, would my mom be proud? Would my husband be proud? As I'm, rowing strokes, as I'm coaching and teaching, would my husband be proud of me? Does this truly represent? The second it feels just a little icky or a little iffy, I'm
probably is.
I would say, but what really impacted my relationship, I would say the people I surrounded myself with.
I think it's a great mantra. I think it's a great mantra for people to be very acutely aware of who is in their inner circle and who they are getting guidance from. I think it's great. So the fact that you went off script on that answer, I think is perfect. So anyway, we want to definitely discuss the 20-year, 30-year veteran in the industry. Okay, just there's that person. Visualize them. What else is there to learn out there if you've been doing it for a long time? What's the big out there to learn?
Well, it's been for a while. I think if I could tell veterans, you've got to embrace technology. You just have to. Jay Blahnik would say, if you're not embracing technology, you're old. And that might be true. I might be old, but you always got to get ahead of technology. Carrie will understand this, and Chan, you as well. When I present, it's probably 70% technical. Do I have this cord? Do I have that cord? Is this plugged? Presenting in the past, I used to show up, and now it's like, does this cord go to that cord? And then look at where we are in the world. Now we're doing all this live streaming. I've been a part of a live streaming yesterday. Actually, it was 9 hours, and it was global. Live global training. What the heck? So you have to like, when first of all, the world's changing, everything's changing. You have to get ahead of technology. You have to be open. You have to be humble. You have to say, I don't know what the heck you're talking about. Help me. What cord? How do I do this? Google. Call your kids. My son's 26. Like, he's a film major. Like, learn.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, it helps. Great. But the thing is you've got to get ahead of technology. I am not kidding you. I actually had a situation where someone's like, are you going to replace that CD player? I'm like, I will buy you an iPod. You've got to be kidding me. Like, people, CDs, really, like, get with it. If you're doing CDs, I can only imagine what your class looks like.
No,
So,
right?
We taught some amazing cycling classes with the 100 CD changer, though, back in the day. Did we not?
Dude, it was like waka, waka, waka.
Yeah.
And then you would pitch it up and pitch it down. Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
You had to wait like 8 seconds for the transition, and you just had them kind of cool down for about 15 seconds, and then it clicked. And
I know Doris will love this, but my first place I ever took class was from Starlight Express, and we used wait for it. We used records, right? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Albums.
I use records. Sheila E. Glamorous album.
Absolutely.
That's
and
before
then
me.
My second job, my first job teaching was at Let's Get Physical.
Love.
I know. And we went from, tapes, cassettes.
Cassettes were nerve-wracking.
Really
breaks, but
you got caught on the thing, and now you're ruined. You're pulling it out.
Well, the double boom box where you would record one song onto this cassette, put in a new cassette, record the next 3 minutes, pull that out, and eventually you would have 11 songs on a cassette. It was amazing.
I know.
It took 9 hours to prep for classes, but
one
class.
Hey, listen, Doris, and instructors get upset when they have to drive 20 minutes to go teach one class.
Yeah, it's And then the thing I would tell veterans is you need to keep learning. You need to keep learning. So in this time off, I am doing precision nutrition. What a phenomenal.
It's a fantastic. So good.
And it's self-development. It helps me. But I think veterans keep learning. Don't be so set in your ways. And I think one of the challenges with the fitness industry, which I think because I believe what's happening is a reset. Yeah. And I think people are, instead of being competitors, people are collaborating. And I think people are being more loving and kind. And I'm hopeful when we open up, we won't take things for granted. But stop being so single-minded. Open up your mind, even if it's, even if you don't understand or believe with the latest diet, just learn it. And maybe there's some pieces to it that could make sense. But I would say veterans, don't be so set in your ways. I know we're getting old and we're like, whatever, I'm 50, I don't care. But the reality is we need to be open-minded. We need to learn, even if we disagree with it, just be open to it.
Right.
What veterans that I see dying on the vine are the ones who are so set in their ways. And it makes me really sad. It makes me really sad.
It makes them very hard to work with as well because, they're judging.
Not morphing.
And they're not morphing, which means they're not team playing,
Well, you want your toolbox. You want your toolbox full of a lot of tools, and that doesn't mean you use the tools all the time. You may only use 1 or 2 a week or 2 or 3 a month, but you do have 10 tools in your toolbox, and when you need it, even if it's just to explain something to someone that you may not even agree with, but at least you can have an intelligent explanation about it. Okay, we're ready for the big finish here. Go, Carrie.
Okay, so through all of your career, what is the most proud fitness moment for you in your fitness career?
This is so easy. I mentioned in July of last year, I got to stand in front of 4,000 people and 4,000 really important people at World Idea. My husband, my son, my mom, who she's 82, has been taking care of my dad for years, hasn't really seen me in action. So for her to see me on that stage, and then she came and watched me teach a cycle class.
I love it.
My mom, my CEO, my CMO, Jay Blahnik won the Inspiration Award. So Jay won an award. Jules Arney was there. Jeff, all my colleagues, all the people that I love, and then all the instructors a lot of instructors that I've taught throughout the years, they were all there. And it was an accumulation and a celebration of what was accomplished in 35 plus years.
Awesome.
At the end of the day, my song, and I was really proud because my walk-up song was Testify to Love, which is a Christian song, because my whole concept, this has all been, I've been very blessed. I've worked very hard, but I've been very blessed, and my intention always been is to move the masses, and my fitness career is to testify to loving people. Choosing an industry that really wasn't shaped in 1984, which to now is has been doing fairly incredibly well. But it was to sit there and to thank people and to acknowledge people and to celebrate how blessed I've been.
Did you get emotional on that stage, Doris?
I was fired up because here's what happened. I did power poses. So funny because I was in the room the day, and like Jules already came up. She, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "I'm good." So I did my power poses. I rocked my red suit, my snake skin heels. I was strapped. I had my hair did. Like I came down, and people were like, "Are you nervous?" I'm like, "No, man, I'm excited.
I'm ready for this."
Yeah. And trust me, I've been a runner-up before, so I know this game. So the way where I was sitting, it was a good shot. And I felt confident, and I was ready to roll. And I got to tell the people that I loved, who shaped my career, who shaped me. And I got to thank God publicly and IDEA for that. Because, the first time I went to IDEA, I was a volunteer. I was a single mom, couldn't afford it. And I said, someday I want to go to this conference. So I became a volunteer. And then someday, maybe I could be a presenter. And then someday, maybe I could be instructor of the year. Yeah. Thank you, Jesus. It happened. So it's easy. What a blessing.
You know what? But that's that work ethic, man. If you look, money's tight. You're starting your career. How do you get to be a part of a 3-day event that's amazing? Volunteer. You just got a $500 entry fee. Hello.
Exactly.
I mean, you got to think.
Don't take for granted the little things.
Of course.
It's so true.
All right.
And the big thing. So I was going to ask another question, but I'm not even going to ask it because I loved how she left that one. So I'm not even going to bring in like the other question. I love where you left it. Woo! It's everything I need to know and everything I think everyone wants to hear. And I love that. And I love Jules Arney too, because y'all together just make like the perfect humans.
Whatever. Two sticks of dynamite.
I know, right? Yeah.
Well, listen, this has been amazing. Not only for, if I'm an owner and I'm on this podcast, I'm listening for how to basically recruit, because what I'm hearing as an owner mind is how to recruit. What am I looking for? What do I need to invest in? Where do I put my money? And then for the trainers out there, they're hearing what is important to the people that are hiring, which would be you, and to the experienced professionals and what they did right, wrong, and where it's shifting and the technology focus. I think this has been absolutely incredible. But we want to definitely thank you a million times over for being a part of this episode 1 of season 2 and for helping us launch it. That is so cool that you got to help us launch with your crazy energy and that great smile.
It is awesome.
What a fantastic way to start. Yeah. And listen, for your just incredible value to the industry, Doris, we can't thank you enough for that, even though I haven't personally been connected to you through my career because I've kind of been the corporate personal training guy. So we didn't really cross paths much, but it is so wonderful.
But they have been crossing, haven't they?
Well, we've been working in the industry and maybe even at the same position. But remember what you said earlier, there was the PT side and there was the group training side. And so we really didn't cross paths, So super, super happy to be a part of this with you.
Yes. So actually next week we have somebody that you actually know too, joining us for our next Monday podcast. And that is Amy Boone Thompson from IDEA. I know, right? It's pretty good stuff. So yeah, it's going to be great. So we hope you tune in and we hope everybody else tunes in. But this has been a great start to our new season. And everybody take care. And we will be here next week. And we'll be dropping all our information on the bottom and how you can connect even with Miss Doris Thews. Thank you so much.
Bye, Doris.
Bye.